In the dead of night, as a thick, suffocating fog swallowed the road, a young man arrived at an ancient hotel far from the city. This building looked old, yet its exterior was unnervingly pristine, decorated with a luxury that felt out of place in the wilderness. However, its windows were pitch black, showing no sign of life within, and a deathly silence hung over the grounds. Exhausted to his core, the man only thought of finding a bed. As he pushed open the heavy wooden door, he was met by a beautiful young woman at the reception. Her smile was so perfect, so frozen, that she looked more like a porcelain doll than a living human. Her eyes never blinked, staring at him as if she'd been waiting for this exact moment for centuries. When he asked for the best room, she slowly nodded and handed him a cold, heavy brass key for room 18. She whispered, "This is our quietest room. No one will disturb you here. No guest has ever left dissatisfied." As he entered the elevator, he saw a reflection in the mirror, a dark shadow standing right behind him. But when he turned around, the small space was empty. Upon entering room 18, the man found it spacious and elegant, but a faint, nauseating scent of decay lingered in the air. He tried to open the window for fresh air, but it was bolted shut, and the fog outside was so dense it pressed against the glass like a solid wall. He collapsed onto the bed and fell into a deep sleep. But at exactly 3 a.m, a sharp scratching sound at the door jolted him awake. Someone was violently rattling the door handle, trying desperately to get inside. The screeching sound of metal against metal echoed through the room, making his skin crawl. He rushed to the door and looked through the peephole, but the hallway was empty. Yet the handle continued to turn and shake on its own, driven by an invisible force. He tried to convince himself it was just the wind or the settling of an old building, but a paralyzing fear had already taken root in his chest. The second night brought even more terror. He fell into a dream where pale, skeletal hands emerged from under his bed, grabbing his ankles and slowly dragging him into the darkness beneath. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. He couldn't breathe until he finally jolted awake, drenched in cold sweat. As he gasped for air, he looked into the vanity mirror across the room. There he saw the reflection of the receptionist standing behind him, but her face was horrific. Her mouth was torn open from ear to ear, and thick black blood oozed from the wound. Terrified, he bolted out into the corridor. The lights were flickering rhythmically, and the very walls seemed to groan with the sound of human sobbing. When he tried to run back into his room, the door slammed shut. He hammered on it, screaming for help, only to hear his own voice from inside the room. "Go away. I live here now. You are nothing but my shadow." The man's heart felt like it would burst from his chest as he sprinted toward the reception. He ran down the stairs, flight after flight. But after every floor, he found himself standing back in front of room 18. The hotel had transformed into an impossible, infinite labyrinth, and he was trapped in its belly. Suddenly, the receptionist appeared before him again. Her skin was now the bruised blue of a corpse, and a freezing chill radiated from her body. She stepped closer and said, "Guests come here of their own will, but no one leaves of their own will. Your stories will never be read, for you are now a part of us." She reached out with her ice-cold hands and gripped his throat. He tried to retreat, looking for a window to jump from, but where the windows once were, there was now only solid, windowless brick. He realized then that he had entered his eternal prison. The next morning, the beautiful girl sat at the reception once again, smiling her perfect frozen smile. Behind her, on the wall of the lobby, a new photograph had appeared among the others. It was a picture of the young man who had arrived only 2 nights ago. His face was frozen in a mask of pure, unadulterated horror. and beneath it was a small brass plaque that read, "The Eternal Guest." Just then, the heavy front door creaked open, and a new traveler stepped inside, seeking a place to rest. The cycle began anew, and the hotel waited, hungry for its next soul.